Greetings, I am Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Fahrenheit commentary. Yes, now we're back as Child Lucas in the Witchetty Grub base, the place where evil was found. And I get the impression that this is probably what would have kicked off the second act of Fahrenheit, where, well, again, considering the fact that this does come after, when Lucas saved all those kids in the burning hangar, that, this probably would have been what kicked everything off, and, you would have found out, gradually that Lucas was exposed to the chroma source when he was born, thus explaining his powers in the first part, but, yeah, now we just sort of get it awkwardly placed right here, right before the final mission of the game, really. Kind of a wee bit pish. You can't wake Malchus or anything, you can't interact with anything, so, really it's just more a matter of, going down the hallway and pretty much listening into what your parents are saying. Normally that would involve, a lot of shouting and hitting and, basically, a lot of secrets that you're not meant to hear as a kid, talking about how they're very, very disappointed in you. But maybe I'm just projecting. As for anything else, though, in the meantime, they're talking about more important things before they find Lucas listening in.
He knew the hangar was going to burn, John, I'm sure of it. But he wasn't the one who started the fire.
Look, Mary, that's just not possible, and you know it. Nobody can see things before they happen.
That artifact emitted a kind of radiation that we still don't understand. Maybe it changed something in Lucas.
That's nonsense. We analyzed everybody who ever came near that thing, and they all checked out fine. Don't you see? If it was the artifact, then we'd all be radiated, and we'd all have powers.
There's a difference, John. I was pregnant with Lucas when I went for the first time. Lucas was radiated by the artifact when he was still in the womb.
This is just ridiculous, Mary. I've heard enough. I'm going to take a walk while you calm down.
Lucas? What are you doing there? Lucas? Lucas?
And then they take off the belt. Okay, dark jokes aside though, again, I'm not really too sure what exactly that scene was meant to imply. Maybe it was meant to sort of dovetail into, Lucas keeping his powers a secret, or not to, tell anybody what he saw out of fear that he might be killed by the Orange Clan. Who knows, really?
There's the hangar. The base seems abandoned. Looks like we got here before the Oracle and the Purple Clan.
They're not far away. I sense their presence.
Jade's lost consciousness. She's at the end of her rope. We don't have much time. Are you sure that you don't want me to come with you?
I don't know what's going to happen, Carla. I don't want to risk your life for no reason.
Be careful. I need you.
If I'm not back in 15 minutes, go back where we came from. Bogart will protect you.
It ends where it began. The hangar bay, where the chroma source is there. But yeah, we're going to meet our destiny, and, the storm's getting so terrible that we have to make a physical effort to resist the snow. Which, again, in one of the rare instances, I do actually like that about the game, where, again, you have to keep on pushing forward against the snow, otherwise you'll get blown back, which, again, it's the sort of thing these sort of interactive movie, drama, games, what have you, are really meant to do. You're meant to put yourself in the character, in the film, in the movie, game, whatever's shoes. It's part of the reason why these things do have an attraction to, people who play... Well, I suppose more the casual audience who plays video games and aren't really looking for that, heavy-set interaction that you usually get with a lot of other genres, but, again, in cases like this, where you're meant to sort of mimic the character's movements, I feel that that's what these sorts of games tend to do best when it adequately sets itself up in the sort of circumstances, really. Again, it's never really going to feel one-for-one unless, of course, you're in the situation itself, which I suppose even then requires, full-on Matrix levels of virtual reality, but, I'd say we're getting there. Or, to some extent, really.
I've been awaiting this moment. The moment when the mystery is revealed to me, the answer to all questions. And it's you who
make slaves of all humanity if they have the secret.
What difference does that make? We already control the world, Lucas. The child will give us ultimate power. We will be the equal of the gods.
I'll never give you the child.
Your tiny role is finished. You can now disappear from the game. We thank you for all that you have done for us.
No problem, Mr. Oracle. Happy to help. Now, let's have another Matrix fight. By the way, remember how I titled the previous part David Cage's Dragon Ball Z? Well, here's the final part of that. Everything I predicted hath come true. Yes, we can do Kung Fu, but now they also shoot laser beams out of their palms. See, look, even Lucas is charging up ready for his ultimate attack. That pretty much being the precipice of this entire part. Dodge out of the way of the Oracle's, fucking laser beams, garlic cannon, Kamehameha, whatever, and have Lucas charge up his own so we can lay the smackdown and defeat the Oracle. Again, if you lose all your lives and get defeated by the Oracle, then this is very much where the endings of the game are subject to change. Again, you pretty much have 3 endings for Fahrenheit, one of which if, Lucas wins, as we're going to be seeing here. One if the Orange Clan wins, basically in this case what happens if the Oracle manages to overpower you or you let him win. And the third ending, well, I'll save that for, well, when certain events coalesce. But, yeah, there is a number of different things that can actually affect, this ending. You do technically have a lifeline in Carla, but, I'll pretty much explain how that goes, next time for the bonus bonanza as we unleash our powers. You know, now that I think about it, it's amazing that these snipers didn't do anything to help the Oracle, since, I mean, I'm guessing that they were working for the Orange Clan, so why they didn't decide to shoot Lucas while he was charging up, or while the Oracle was still, while the Oracle was still charging up his powers before he drowned in the chroma is anybody's guess, but, oh well, their loss.
You are even more obstinate than we had thought, human. But the game is over. You and your race have lost. Your inferior species will disappear, like the dinosaurs before you. We, the artificial intelligences, will be the new dominant race on this planet. Thanks to the secret of the child, we will know all. We will be more powerful than gods.
Now, if you've... Okay, there's a few ways in which this sequence with, the AI can pretty much play out. In this case, if you fail to resist their summons, for lack of a better phrase, then you pretty much have a lifeline. In this case, that will be Carla pretty much coming in to, well, take one of the guns from the downed, security officers, and pretty much have her, shoot some bullets into the, AI and pretty much have Lucas freed long enough for him to fight them off and then, defeat the AI. Actually, I might be misremembering that, actually. I'm kind of getting my wires crossed. Whatever, you'll be seeing a little bit later, but either way, Lucas once again uses more of his chroma powers to destroy the AI, and yeah, one of their agents is now gone for good, and bursts into a beautiful yellow burst of whatever the fuck that is. Energy, hard light, whatever makes up their physical form, but yeah, not much time left now, so let's restore the world to rights, and have Lucas be the one to hear the Indigo prophecy, relieve the secret to life, and thus his destiny.
cold went away just like it had come, in silence, as if the Indigo child had turned the hourglass by delivering her message. Everything was just as it was before. I guess that means the lesser evil. The Oracle and the Orange Clan went back to their places of power in the secret government of the world, and the Purple Clan went back to haunting us on the net. I should be happy, I guess. I've been living with Carla for 3 months. She's the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Yesterday, she told me that she's pregnant. Must have been that night in Bogart's underground base. That means that our child was radiated by the chroma at Rishida, just like I was in my mother's womb. I don't know what's going to happen now. I'm the one and only keeper of the greatest secret in the universe. What should I do with all that power? Forget it? Put it in the service of humanity? I've never dreamt about being a god. I just want to live my life like anybody else with my wife and my child. I'm afraid that destiny might have another path in mind for me.
What are you thinking about, Lucas?
Oh, nothing. Nothing at all.
And so, dudes and dudettes, that was Fahrenheit / Indigo Prophecy, and well, what is there really to say? I mean, I suppose to talk about gameplay, because that's probably the easiest thing to surmise, yeah, gameplay is serviceable. I mean, again, like in terms of basic movement, it's alright, can be a bit jittery at times. The quick-time event sequences are fine for the most part in terms of, manipulating the analog stick to, do pure reactionary things. Sometimes against bright environments, it might have a bit of trouble telling the colors apart, but then again, I can't tell whether or not that's just me growing, a little bit blinder with age, or, just something that people hard of sight might have a bit of trouble adapting to. I mean, again, interacting with certain set pieces early on in the game is pretty good, although it does sort of peter out a little bit as the game's development cycle really began to hit a bit of a wall when the, 13 episode then 3 game trilogy was truncated to 1 game. And, on the whole, that's really my biggest problem with Fahrenheit, the fact that, again, it's got ideas and, ambition for a 3-game trilogy at the absolute best, that had more ambition than it was willing to chew off, and quite frankly, truncating all of them into 1 game, it's not terrible. The detective stuff works pretty well in part 1, the atmosphere and conspiracy elements works pretty well in the first part as well, and probably would have continued into part 2, which would have been good. Again, I think if you saved a lot of, the balls off the walls, insane, crazy, Matrix Revolutions, Dragon Ball style combat stuff for part 3, I think that would have been good as well, but as it stands, the game sort of has to truncate all of that into, 1 game, and, the aspects that suffer the most out of that is more threefold, really. The first of which is Lucas and Carla's relationship. Again, they either should have focused on them being, the main romance thing from the get-go and keeping Tiffany completely out of the mix, or instead just had, well, Lucas and Tiffany sort of hook up as opposed to sort of treating Tiffany like the dog shit he stepped on yesterday by going, hello there, Carla, I miss Tiffany, but by God, you've got some lovely assets, so let's bang. Again, the second thing of which being the Orange Clan. Again, I guess at the end of the day, greed was ultimately their motivation for control over humanity, but again, the whole shadow government, they control everything, just kind of comes across as a wee bit tepid and played out, really. Again, there are a lot of other games of the era, like Deus Ex, for instance, that do the whole shadow government thing a little bit more justice than what Fahrenheit does, and I guess maybe it could have also delved into a little bit more of the, war for control between them and the Invisibles. I suppose the last remaining remnants of a clan that fights against them for complete control of humanity, since it seems to imply that other countries, during the medieval period and, different eras of humanity were also clans vying for control over the chroma. And then lastly, the absolute aspect that suffered the most would be, well, the Indigo clan / the AI. Again, that barely got any sort of development, why they want to destroy humanity, why they want to do what they do even to begin with. It's all just a bit of a wash, really, which, again, does make a lot of the plot development feel very rushed and hackneyed. Again, there are minor elements that do sort of germinate from this in and of itself, like Tyler, being a major character but getting the short end of the stick in terms of, his lasting impact. Carla's agency I mean, I'd say Carla, compared to a lot of other, you know, feminine heroes of David Cage games, does fare a lot better than the likes of Madison Paige, Jodie, or fucking, what's-her-face from Detroit, I Am Become Human, but it's not by much. It's a bit of a shame, really, but all that aside, though, and again, they are some pretty major issues, but it doesn't really affect my enjoyment of Fahrenheit too much here, really. Again, I enjoy, you know, the story going balls off the walls insane for all the David Cage-isms involved. I like the soundtrack, you know, as you're currently hearing with Theory of a Dead Man right now. But even the in-game stuff by, you know, Angelo Badmintani, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the last name, but yeah, it's all pretty good stuff. Again, I do come back to this game every now and again just to enjoy some sequences I enjoy, to interact with the world, and yeah, overall, it's a sort of game where, again, like, I mean, if you're looking for an airtight plot or, you know, something that is very tightly constructed, it's gonna be a bit of a disappointment, but ultimately, it's one of those sorts of games where, again, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, and, you know, you just sort of enjoy the ride while you have it. It isn't perfectly designed or perfectly programmed, and I suppose you do need to have the sort of temperament to sort of enjoy, you know, movie-based-esque quick-time event, whatever games to begin with, but quite frankly, there is a lot to enjoy, and again, there are, you know, certain settings that play out depending on your choices, so again, even though it doesn't really change the plot outright up until, well, quite frankly, the final mission, which you'll see a little bit more of in the bonus video, again, there was a lot of enjoyment on display in Fahrenheit, and, you know, a few cheeky little japes here and there that, well, later movie game, whatever things would lose out on. More just a picture of the 2000s being a more, well, fun decade compared to now than the video game state that we live in now. But whatever, this isn't Skully Rambles at the state of video games. And next time you'll see why, because next time is the bonus video of Fahrenheit, and I will catch you later.